Hello, 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 and welcome to another rendition of Math is Easy, Step by Step. I would like to introduce some of the HiSET test questions, and that is what I'm going to try to do in these next coming videos. I also wanted to let you know that you can contact me with any questions you have. I'll try my best in a reasonable amount of time to answer your questions. If you have problems that you would like to see, you can send those to me as well. I'll do my best to answer those, and I'll create a video for you if I can. And please give me some feedback if you notice I've made a mistake, or if you have any suggestions. Thank you for joining me. So let's just get right on into it. Which of these is a irrational number? We have A, the square root of 16 divided by 25. B, the square root of 17. C, the square root of 64. D, the square root of 169, or E, the square root of 196. So some of you may be asking, well, how do you know it's a square root? If there's no indicator up here in the left top portion of these radicals, it is almost like an invisible one, right? We talked about invisible ones. If you're not familiar, watch my videos on invisible ones. This is invisible 2, right? An invisible 2. These are square roots, right? You're supposed to remember and just automatically know that these are square roots. All right, so one of the first things I want to go over is many times you can look at these options, and a lot of times in these videos I'm going to try to give you test taking strategies, because sometimes it's difficult. You're not going to be able to maybe do these type of problems, but you can narrow it down to maybe A and a B choice, right? And so I want to give you test taking strategies so you can eliminate possibly C, D, and E. And I'll be going over that a little later, but I might as well touch on it. I'm talking about it, right? So let's look at these options: A, B, C, D, and E. I know a square root, and all of these options has to have a perfect square. Two numbers that multiply to the target number within the radical. I know that 8 times 8 is 64. That's a perfect square, right? And if you know that a perfect square is a rational number, right? And we'll go over the definition of irrational here in a moment. So if 8 times 8, or the square root of 64 is 8, I can eliminate C as an option, okay? If I know that, let's say, 13 times 13 is a perfect square, and that multiplies to 169. Well, I can eliminate D, right? If I look at E, and the square root of 196 is a perfect square, 14 times 14, I can eliminate E as an option. So right off the bat, before I even get into answering the question, I can eliminate C, D, and E. They cannot be an option. So now I've got a 50-50 chance, A or B, in guessing the correct answer. So that's what I mean by test taking strategy. I'll be going over this with you, and hopefully that makes sense to you. One of the first things you should do is request a calculator if one is not provided for you in your standardized exam. One must be provided if you ask. And if you're really lucky, you can get that scientific calculator issued to you, which would help. Here's a couple of other items let's go over in understanding. Number 2, what is the definition of an irrational number? And a lot of this is in mathematic terminology, and I'll do my best to explain the terminology. It cannot be written as a fraction like A over B, where the denominator, that's the B value, the bottom number, denominator is the bottom number, cannot equal 0, right? So b cannot be equal to 0. Okay. An irrational number is a non-terminating, that means never-ending decimal value, right? So if you're using your calculator, a decimal that never ends, like pi, 3.14, da 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 da, goes on and on forever, and none of those decimals are repeating, right? So it's a non-repeating decimal, right? Non-terminating decimal, goes on and on and on. So you want to think about irrational? Think about pi for this particular type of question. 3.14 goes on and on and on and on. You punch in pi in your calculator, hit the equal sign, you will see the definition of an irrational number. And here's an example, 4.123105626, right? As you can see to the right of the decimal, none of these numbers repeat, and the decimal goes on and on and on and on forever. Now, a repeating decimal would look like 0.12121212. That would be considered a rational number. But you can see this number does not repeat. It does not go on and on and on. This is an irrational number, very similar to pi, right? Very similar to pi. What I would like to do here is show you some of the scientific calculator functions to turn your square root into a decimal value. And I'm going to start here. So using your scientific calculator, first select the icon that looks just like this. It's got an x inside the radical and it's to the power of 2. Then select the number that you want to find the square root of. So if there was a 144, you're looking for the square root of 144. First you hit this icon, and then you would select 144. You'd hit the equal button, and you'd be able to find a decimal value. So let's go ahead and do that, right? Hit the icon in your scientific calculator. Looks like this here with A. Then hit, for the problem A, 16 divided by 25. It's going to give you a value, right? Do the same thing for option B above I showed you a moment ago. Hit that square root option on your scientific calculator, then hit 17, then hit the equal sign. You're going to get a decimal value. On the next video, I'm going to show you how to do this manually in case you were not given a scientific calculator. So don't worry, I'm going to break it down for you in the next video. Option C, hit that square root icon, then hit 64, hit the equal sign, it'll give you a value. Okay, hit it for option D, hit that icon, then the target number, 169, hit the equal sign, you'll get a value. For E, hit that square root icon in your calculator, then hit 196, the equal sign, it will give you a value. Now, which one of these, A, B, C, D, or E, fits the irrational number? Well, that is going to be your answer. Hey, stick with me. I'm going to go over in the next video and show you how to manually break these down, answers A through E, in order to determine the correct value answer. Hey, math is easy. Take it step by step. When I'm going over these test question options, I'm going to be giving you test-taking strategies to eliminate, hopefully, some of the possible answers. Hey, thanks for joining me. If I've helped you, please help me with your stars and donations.